Okay, this video is in reference to me, I don't know how to word it in reference to, see, I'm thinking about the title, you know, trying to fit the description of the subject matter. And, what this video is going to be about is, this video is about me asking any of my viewers to, if they feel inclined to do so, and if they feel comfortable with it, they can do it anonymously, attempt to spread the word to activist groups that are appropriate pertaining to what's happening to me. Now, I'm a target victim and activist pertaining to the crimes of what is known as organized stalking, which can also be termed as gang stalking. And it's not stalking by gangs at all. Organized stalking and gang stalking is nothing but community-based harassment, okay, that is managed and perpetrated by organized crime members that are in the system, who have tentacles out within the community, mostly white and blue-collar workers, okay? And now police officers can definitely 100% be involved. In fact, the manifesto that's on the internet right now that was written by a manager of gang stalking flat out states that even entire police departments have been taken over. Judges are mentioned, doctors are mentioned. Basically what they are is a mutual for-profit organization where they share the profit that is made off the targeted individual. The criminal motivations that they can have for a target range from property co-opting, land co-opting, mortgage co-opting, trust fund liquidation, identity theft, human trafficking, prostitution rings, sexual servitude rings, insurance fraud, that's where the doctors come into play at, and racketeering of all forms, including attempting to take syndicated probate control based on falsified police reports, falsified incident reports, and doctor reports. Now, the police and the doctors are strongly connected. Make no mistake about it. Make no mistake about it. And the system is being used in reference to specific law enforcement resources and tools in order to be able to place the targeted individual on a specific type of notification list that have been made as law enforcement tools, supposedly to protect the community. Basically, like the community notification, the sexual offenders notification, and the offenders notification. Now, what these organized crime syndicated police officers, including entire police departments, if they have been totally taken over by these crime syndicates, what they're doing is putting 100%, okay, that means completely, literally completely, innocent people on these community notification lists in order to motivate the community to harass a target for them based on how they're using these lists. Based on how they're using them, okay? And that doesn't mean by just putting the target on the list and completely lying about them 100%. I'm talking about just your average American citizen, okay? Your literal average American citizen who should not be on these lists for any reason, literally, whatsoever, okay? Now, to give you a good idea, okay, to help you see the audacity of these filthy animals that are in the system that perpetrate these crimes, and then the offices that protect them, including which can be district attorney's offices, prosecutors' offices, social services, even social security, because these criminal expeditions are going on at the federal, state, and local level. That's right. Now, basically, to give you a literal in-your-face, some information that is literally there for you to observe is to go to Google and type in KTPS space Jessica Miles space Minnesota reporter space gang stalking. Now that's a reporter from Minnesota who's being gang stalked up the wazooks. Okay? That's right. Now when you look at her blog, you will clearly be able to see the law enforcement that is involved, okay, with not only the gang stalking of this beautiful woman, okay, but also other blonde-haired women, okay, that are in her community, okay, and they're suing the hell out of the police that are involved. Hold on a second. Now, I do what I do to inform, to expose the truth. Now, let me just give you an example of what it's like in part in reference to how the organized stalking, gang stalking targeted individual is literally left with no ability to even legally get help. Case in point, these individuals at the federal, state, and local level have the community. They have the positions and the influence that goes with their positions to influence anybody based on lies, slander, defamation of character, creating bogus criminal investigation files, and then combining it with the badge and the lie, okay, to influence anyone, to intimidate lawyers, to intimidate law firms. If I went to a law firm right now today and I said I'm a target of organized stalking and gang stalking, I would have to brief them on how this crime is happening to me and all the different types of crimes that have happened to me, even crimes that have left huge paper trails. The audio evidence I got is literally undisputable, and I'm going to play a little bit of it right now in this video file for you to observe it. But the hard thing about a target getting help from a lawyer is because, for one, the law firm or the lawyer can be compromised very easily. It's all over the internet in reference to how organized stalking and gang stalking targeted individuals are literally screwed over by their own lawyers because of they can be solicited to cooperate and paid off from behind the scenes. They can be intimidated with certain legal instruments, okay? That David Larson, who's the head of the water board in Yucca Valley, California, he's being targeted, and he talks about how NSA letters, if I'm remembering the right person, he's talking about NSA letters, which is basically an FBI legal instrument that they're using illegally. Okay, but since when you look at the character and the personality of what is involved in an NSA letter, it is very hard to even get the law firm or lawyer to open up that they've been approached and intimidated. That's right. Now, I'm aware that by you hearing me state the FBI, NSA letters, federal, state, and local individuals who have law enforcement employment descriptions being involved in these criminalities, so you might think to yourself, well, there's not a dang thing I can do to help this woman, and I totally 100% understand. If I was watching this video and I wasn't a target of this crime, I would think to myself, okay, I might think to myself, okay, this is really screwed up, and this is really unfortunate, but I can't get involved in anything like this, and I don't blame you. What I'm basically trying to say is just hear me out. In organized stalking and gang stalking expeditions, and everything that I'm stating to you right now can be Googled in reference to the descriptions of the methods and tactics of these criminalities. If I was to get on my cell phone, which is hacked, my cell phone can be used as a GPS locator. They can hack into it to use it as a microphone, using the speaker that you would normally talk into when you're talking. They could hack into the camera. And I'm talking about even when the phone is off. You might think to yourself, well, why don't you take out the battery? I don't even know if that would totally 100% fix the situation, because most electronics have capacitors in it. And capacitors always hold a unit of charge in them. That's why they say don't work on your TV even if it's unplugged, because of the huge capacitors that TVs have in them. And capacitors always hold a unit of charge in them. That's how all of the RAM, random access, that's how all the ROM, the read-only memory instructions, are kept in an electronic device that controls the functions of the device when the device is turned off or when the battery is out. That's right. That way, like, if the battery went dead or something happened to it, and it could take you up to a week to find a new battery or find the time to go buy one, you go then to buy a battery, and you put the battery in it, and once you turn it on, all the functions are going right back to its normal, normal functions, like the time you're seeing right now. It would automatically go back to its time, because the read-only memory, okay, is kept active by the capacitors in it. that are holding a unit of charge. And since the unit of charge the internal ROM needs in order to keep the stored instructions into the computer that runs the digital electronics, it only needs a small amount. So the capacitor will keep the phone operating, which means it can still be hacked into through RF filtering and still used as a GPS locator, and more than likely a microphone as well. So, could they even be hearing what I'm saying right now? Go to Google and YouTube and type in cell phone hacking and stalking, and then cell phone hacking and gang stalking. Okay? Now the point I'm trying to make is this. If I went to a lawyer or a law firm and the lawyer was not in, which they usually aren't, okay, I might ask to make an appointment, okay, and their secretary could say a number of things. They could say, okay, what's this regarding to? You could say gross negligence of duty by the San Diego Police, or gross negligence of duty by the San Diego District Attorney's Office, or the fact that I was brutally assaulted on an MTS bus and then MTS sent me an altered video, which is obstruction of justice in reference to materials of discovery, which is evidence. That's right, because they did. They literally sent me an altered video of me being assaulted on their bus. And everybody was notified about it. The San Diego Police Department, many times. The San Diego District Attorney's Office was notified about it by email, by me physically, and by certified mail letters that were sent return receipt. None of them did one thing about it, except for try to imply that I was mentally ill concerning it. That's right. Now, all you got to do is go to YouTube and type in "learning disabled woman brutally assaulted on an MTS bus," and you'll clearly be able to see information. You'll be able to see me being assaulted, then research meticulously every single thing that is in the description of that YouTube video, and you will see that I predicted that assault 11 days before it occurred. Then go to Google and YouTube and type in "learning disabled woman exposes and or describes how MTS assault video is altered." Now, I could go in there and give them just those three statements, and then they would say, well, they might end up saying, well, tell me a little bit more about your case, or, okay, that sounds like something that our law firm might be interested in, leave your name and number. And that way the lawyer can then call you and tell you his appointment availability pertaining to his schedule. If my cell phone is hacked, which I have no doubt in my mind about it, it is, because a phone call that I made to the San Diego Police Department headquarters about a week before, in mid-July 2013, has been erased from my call feature list. And then evidence was discovered inside the San Diego Police Department headquarters when I went down there. So I guess they wanted to make it appear that they had no foreknowledge of me going down there before I went, in order to set up the type of harassment I experienced once I got down there. And the evidence was caught, the harassment was caught, but they wanted to, I guess, make it look like that they had no foreknowledge of me going there, because I literally called there. That's been erased from my phone. Now, cell phone hacking and organized stalking and gang stalking, again, is all over the internet. I leave my phone number for that lawyers. They know I went down there based on them cyber surveillance and seeing. Cyber surveillance is a method of organized stalking. You better believe it is. You better believe it is. So if they see me looking up an address to a law firm, and then they can see I'm looking up the address, the phone number, the fax, everything. All they have to do is, as a result of my cell phone being hacked, reroute my phone calls to them, and they will literally pretend to be the people I'm calling. They will then bait me to open up about why I'm calling, so I'll have to re-experience the crimes in my mind mentally, because that's a huge method of gang stalking, is to create episodic memories through assaults, traumatizations, and victimizations. That's right, and then have you talk about it as much and often as possible, because they want you to stay mentally attentive to what is happening to you any way they literally can. Literally. And I'm literally going to prove it to you in a few minutes. Now, so what they'll do is reroute the target's phone call to them and pretend to be the law firm or the lawyer. They will then bait you to open up about what's happening to you and then say, well, I'm sorry, we don't take this kind of case. That's right. That's right. They will intercept mail. Either mail I send to the law firm or mail that they might send to my P.O. box or my email account. Cyber surveillance is all over the internet in reference to that being a methodology of organized stalking, which can also be termed as gang stalking. That's right. So one of the things that I have decided to do, email rerouting, faking email replies, phone call rerouting, it's all over the internet, literally. that these are the methodologies of these criminal expeditions, because the whole goal is from the perpetrator's perspective, is to commit the crime, keep the target isolated in them, keep them from any uncorrupted legal assistance, okay, and to even try to steer them to places that can be influenced by them from behind the scenes. Even like if I went down to possibly the San Diego Bar Association and tried to connect with them or any other type of legal resource, okay, that can direct me to a lawyer, they will intentionally direct me to a lawyer that they already have planned on using for me, so my case can be thrown out of court, literally, by him botching the case or making sure that and this is just another extension of what they can do. They can, if I find an uncorrupted lawyer, they can literally pipeline my case before a syndicated judge, which is mentioned in the manifesto that's on the internet right now, which you can look at by going to Google and typing in a gang stalking tech, everything you need to know. James Walbert, Mason Monroe, Connie Marshall, all of these individuals who are law-abiding, upstanding citizens who are being victimized with these criminalities have had their cases thrown out of court, even though the evidence they got was undisputable. Undisputable evidence. Undisputable. Because it's organized crime in the system. Now, when somebody's got human trafficking aspirations of you, somebody you do not know, how this crime is happening to a completely innocent person who did nothing wrong at all whatsoever, who did not have any type of lifestyle that would have even put them in the mix of any individuals that might even be possibly involved in these crimes, okay? In other words, how did they know I came back to San Diego on August 8, 2011? I've been gang stalked from the second I got off the Greyhound bus. The literal second. I was literally gang stalked inside the Greyhound terminal. Hold on. So how did they know I came back to San Diego? So that right there should know, and I don't know anybody in San Diego at all, personally or even at the acquaintance level. So how did they, so what I'm trying to tell you is that I do not know these people at all. I do know the names of some of the individuals who have covered it up and not done their jobs. You better believe I do. But I do not know these filthy animals who are managing this crime and who are connected to the criminal aspirations of what can eventually happen to a target, which they literally had the aspirations for, human trafficking. It's a syndicate that is involved in every single type of crime that you can think of. And they target the vulnerable, the innocent, single women, single mothers, single fathers, people on disability, people with fixed incomes, pensions. That's right, the elderly like you would not believe, and the disabled like you would not believe. Veterans. Veterans are heroes who are coming back disabled, okay, either with the mental effects of war, okay, or the physical effects of war. You better believe they're targeting them. Also, other veterans who had certain employment descriptions that the government might not be too comfortable with pertaining to the knowledge that they, or experience that they ascertained as they were in the military. That shows the federal involvement right there. Now, what I'm basically trying to ask is that what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get a hold of certain activist groups, the ACLU, Amnesty International, and I got to be very careful because it is all over the internet if you do enough investigative research that 501 nonprofits can be involved in gang stalking, because they can not only be involved in it, but innocent ones can be intimidated to cooperate because they get their money from the government. That's right. That's right. I have literally been gang stalked to a building and by the people who supposedly worked for human trafficking victims. Literally. And by a national city police officer who I stopped and asked directions pertaining to the address of where I was going, pertaining to going to see these human trafficking advocates. I was gaslighted by that national city police officer. Now, what we got to understand here is that these filthy criminal sewer rats can infiltrate anybody for any reason and tell any kind of tailored, sophisticated lie, combine it with a badge. That's right. You would not believe the schemes and lengths of their snaky maneuvers in order to infiltrate anything. Plus, you got to also understand as well, where would be the perfect place for a human trafficking target? If a human trafficking target is running to a place that's supposed to advocate for human trafficking targets, that is the perfect place for these snakes to work at. Because they then are having people come in who are vulnerable, who had nowhere else to go. Which means they had nobody, no income, no resources. They get their information as a result of these people believing they can go there to get help. and then these people take their information and will literally target them. I've been gang stalked in churches, homeless shelters, Salvation Army, that's right, Goodwill, that's right, police departments, district attorney's offices. Now, what does this tell you? That it's not only organized crime that's in the system, but it's also got tentacles out within the community. That's right. So, how can I connect with a lawyer when they can intercept my mail? Mail theft and mail delayment is a huge methodology of gang stalking. You better believe it is. You better believe it is. Cell phone and landline call rerouting. Email rerouting. Faking email replies. They'll even go as far as literally creating the letterheads of a law firm. Literally. And then because anybody can do this if you really think about it. I mean, if they are sophisticated enough, which I believe they are, they can probably even create a generic letterhead of a law firm by going down to a place that creates letterheads, okay, any office supply store, and then make enough letterheads, get them made up, and then pretend to be that law firm and write a letter and state we are no longer interested in your case, or they can influence the law firm or lawyer not to. Through many different means. You got to understand, lawyers make their livelihoods in the system, and a lot of them are already corrupt anyways. Go to Google and type in organized stalking or gang stalking and lawyers. Now, the point I'm trying to make is this in this particular video. So I decided what I'm going to do is at least try not to make myself as vulnerable as possible by reaching out to advocacy groups. That's right, the ACLU, Amnesty International, any other advocacy groups that I can at least contact and maybe run to get help or some kind of help, and maybe how they can act as physical go-betweens between me, the lawyer, and them. Physical going down there for appointments, physically going down there to find out when the lawyer has availability to be able to connect with them, and me and them go and physically literally talk to the lawyer instead of email communications, mail, or phone calls, because these whores already are compromising these communication avenues. I can't get no help. I literally cannot get no help at all because of their methodologies and schemes and tactics and maneuvers. Hold on a second. I'm being gang stalked at the law library downtown San Diego. Why am I being harassed every time I go there by their security guard? I will either upload a video of evidence or I will surveil a video of evidence in order to be able to listen closely to what was going on around me as the event transpires, where then the evidence is contained in the event, okay? And what I'll do is I'll go over it, okay? And I'll listen to it so I can then try to get an idea of what type of possible penal code can be attached to it to look it up. Every single time I do that, on top of having numerous other windows, okay, of human rights organizations, the California Penal Code brought up, my Gmail account brought up, numerous other things that I have brought up that I am working on, okay, while the videos are uploading, and then I review them. I'll pop the YouTube video window back up and forth in order to be able to see how long it's taken for the YouTube video to upload, or to be able to look at a YouTube video for its title to see if it's got evidence, so I can then listen to it and then find the penal code. So occasionally I pop the window back up and down, up and down, up and down. The library security guard, am I being gang stalked, and am I experiencing gang stalking methods by specific law library personnel? Am I? Am I? All you got to do is go to Google and type in organized stalking and or gang stalking in libraries, and then in a separate search, security guards. Look at how many Google generated responses you'll get. This is the system. Using the system to connect with anybody. That's right. And basically what they do when a targeted individual goes into any place like a public library, a university library, a college library, they see it through the tracking of the target. And I've already mentioned at least the phone is being used as a GPS locator. Therefore, they know the address of where the phone ends up at. The perpetrators then get on their phone and say, we got a person here who is of interest to us. They're under criminal investigation. As a result, the individuals who work there, including managers, branch managers, library security, okay, are told what to do. Now, if these perpetrators are cyber surveilling my activity and I'm reviewing evidence and penal codes, they're not going to like that. So what they're going to do is look at, well, what's the library policy for this particular library, like the law library. They'll get the do they have the ability to get the security guard to act like he's just walking by me because of something malfunctioning or a computer malfunctioning or somebody leaving the computer? They'll even go as far as possibly making it appear on their video camera on their wall that he's correcting somebody else, okay, who's supposedly inappropriately using the computers, because you're only supposed to be using it for legal research, which I am, because I'm investigating the penal codes. Because they got to make it appear before he approaches me to ban me that he's also correcting other people. So it doesn't look like what he's doing towards me has purpose. Do you see what I'm saying? Because in court, if I go to sue the law library on any other date, they got to make it appear that Miss Williams thinks that everybody's conspiring against her. This is a literal method of gang stalking to imply that Target's crazy. Even though it's all over the internet that cyber surveillance is a method of gang stalking, I see got YouTube stuff up. He's got an earpiece in his ear that's directly connected to his radio. Is he being communicated with his radio? He hears when to walk by me when I got YouTube up on my screen, so he can say, you got YouTube up, you're not supposed to be doing this. Do you see what I'm saying? It's all over the internet that these filthy animals are already working with police, security guards of businesses, libraries, okay? And cyber surveillance is all over the internet. So what they can do is creatively create these types of, through the cyber surveillance, they see I got the YouTube video brought up because I'm researching it for penal codes. He walks by and approaches me. He walks by and acts like he notices YouTube's up. So then he eventually approaches me and says, I've noticed all day long that you're on YouTube, but yet you're not doing nothing else. But he says, but yet you're not doing nothing else. But then I say, well, look, I got look at all these things I got brought up here. Human rights group. Multiple windows open up pertaining to multiple, because I'm making lists right now of all the evidence, and each like if I go to Google and open up a Gmail email, okay, and then compose a list in it pertaining to one place I've been gang stalked at, and then I got another one opened up pertaining to another place, and then 5 other different ones opened up because I'm making a list in each one. Okay, he doesn't know what I'm doing. I could be copy and pasting penal codes in these lists, is what I'm trying to say, or laws, which I've actually done. So I got all these Gmail composing inbox opened up, 5 of them opened up in his face. I got a human rights advocacy group window opened up, a California penal code thing opened up, but yet he won't look at those when I'm trying to tell him that I am actually doing other things. Instead, he's staying focused on the YouTube thing by saying, well, I've been walking by you all day and all I've seen is YouTube. I go, well, that's not true, because what I'm working on is right now in your face. And you can tell that I've been working on it all day by the amount of stuff that I put in these lists. But he won't listen, because he wants that video camera up on the wall to be able to see that he's correcting me supposed to be about something I'm not supposed to be doing. This is literally how this shit works. Literally. Now, I'm going to keep this video private until an event transpires that brings it about to where I'm banned from the law library downtown San Diego. I'm showing you today's date to show you that I'm predicting it before it occurs. Okay? There's also a feature on this phone called the voice command. Hold on. There's also a feature on this phone called the voice command. It's in the tools menu. Okay? And once you activate that, you can have the phone tell you the date and time. Hold on.
Say a command. February 5th, Wednesday, 8:19 a.m.
Okay. Now the reason why if you don't know anything about organized stalking or gang stalking, you might automatically say, this sounds weird. Why would people be doing all this? Because it's organized crime in the system. That's why they would be doing all this. Hold on a second. Okay? And when you got I am what is considered as a high-profile target because of what I know. I've been on national radio shows, okay, exposing the fact that I'm a victim of this crime. If they're using public libraries, which they are, for cyber surveillance, email hacking, Then, at the beginning of this video, I mentioned to you that I was assaulted on an MTS bus, and then MTS sent me an altered video. What does that tell you? That should automatically tell you they're using video cameras right there. That should automatically tell you that they got the power to connect with MTS. If they hacked into my Gmail account and erased the email prediction that I made 11 days before pertaining to, I made an email on September 29th, 2011, stating that as a result of, hold on, September 29th, 2011, 11 days before I was brutally assaulted on that MTS bus, I made an email. I stated, as a result of me preparing to go to Barbara Boxer's office, there's a great likelihood I'm going to be assaulted because of gang stalking. Okay, because I already knew that my cyber activity was being monitored by things they were currently doing and had done. So, I made an email on September 29, 2011. I stated, as a result of me preparing to and going to Barbara Boxer's office, which is a senator in California, I said there's a great likelihood that I'd be assaulted either walking, riding my bike, or on public transportation. 11 days later, I was brutally assaulted on public transportation. Then they sent me an altered video. Then they went into my Gmail account and erased the email prediction. But the day I made it, I copied and pasted it into an email, into a Word document, and then downloaded it to my USB drive, and I also printed it out. Now let's take a look also at that statement, though, just in that email alone. I stated that was made on September 29, 2011. I stated there'd be, hold on, I stated that, hold on, I gotta cough again. Let me drink some water real fast. I stated that, excuse me, I stated that there'd be a great likelihood as a result of me preparing to and going to Senator Barbara Boxer's office that I'd be assaulted either walking, riding my bike, or on public transportation. This event you're about ready to hear right now is two individuals getting along my route as I was riding my bike on the sidewalk, and they intentionally obstructed my ability to continue to ride my bike, so I had to get off it, which meant I started walking, riding my bike, walking, or on public transportation. And as these guys are harassing me and threatening me to assault me, they're saying gang stalking. Just listen. They say gang stalk together, then one says gang stalking, then that same one says gang is stalking, I'm going to F you up. Now, this is just the segment of the event where the threats happened while they were saying gang stalk. You're going to hear a screech. When you hear that screech, that's my bike brakes. Okay? Then I get off the bike, and that's why you hear me say I'm standing right here. So I'll just start it over. All right, so listen. You know how I've talked to you, I've been pretty descriptive pertaining to the security guards down at the law library. Let me give you an example about what I'm talking about. This event occurred on November 28, 2013, Thanksgiving Day, on a sidewalk right up the street from UCSD. 8 days before, two things happened on UCSD property, one of them in the library by two library security guards. The first thing that happened on that day, November 20th, 2013, I talked to a UCSD campus police officer and told him that every time I go on their campus, that individuals get around me and constantly repeat gang stalk. This event happened 8 days later. on a sidewalk right up the street from UCSD. But after I got done talking to that UCSD campus police officer, telling him that every time I go on their campus that individuals get around me every single day and say gang stalk repetitively, which is their way to let me know I'm being gang stalked by literally placing people along my route to constantly repeat it every day everywhere I go. And that has been caught inside the law library. Okay? I told him that on November 20th, 2013, right out front of the Geisel Library. I then left his presence, locked up my bike, went into the Geisel Library, spent about an hour and 40 minutes on a computer, got up to leave for the day, and so I got up to leave from the computer, went to the bathroom. Okay, did my business in the bathroom, came out of the bathroom and filled up my water bottle at the water fountain right at the wall next to the bathroom. Once I filled up the water bottle, I then went to go walk to leave the library, and two library security officers approached me to hand me a conduct of policy, okay, library conduct of policy, a pamphlet. And I said, okay, and they said, well, if anybody complains about you, you can be banned permanently. And I said, well, what if it's a staged complaint? He says, yes, that too. Already uploaded to the internet. It was caught on audio file as we were talking, and that has already been uploaded to the internet. Now, if that's a library security officer telling me inside a UCSD library that a staged complaint can cause me to be banned, and that should automatically show you that library security is involved in gang stalking, and that could be, let me just say could be, okay, because he didn't, it was a slip of the tongue, is what it was. But it was a slip of the tongue concerning the truth, because otherwise, how can you have that kind of slip of the tongue? See, I had been gang stalked inside the biomedical library and the Geisel library on so many occasions, it's pathetic. And campus safety of any university and library security, they're told what to do by their boss, and their boss is told what to do by the people who run that friggin' university. And the only thing they give two shits about is protecting their ass. In reference to any crimes that they might be involved in, they got to make sure that that university is not exposed in order to protect the image of the university. Look at Penn State, Jerry Sandusky. That shit was allowed for 10 full years, raping little boys on campus for 10 full years. You're going to tell me that nobody in that university knew about that shit? Bullshit. My name is Leslie Williams. So what you got to understand here is that there is no way. Why wouldn't the library security guard say, well, I don't know what you mean when I said it could be a staged complaint? Why didn't he say, I don't know what you mean, or that don't make sense? Why wouldn't he say that? Why wouldn't he say that? Or why wouldn't he say, I don't understand? Instead he said, yes, that too. Right to my face. You had to have been there to see his body demeanor, his facial expressions, and how they were acting. And let me tell you something right now. You wouldn't believe what I'm putting up with at UCSD. You just would not believe it. Right now in my possession, I got over 800 separate audio files, at least, of individuals getting around me every single day and repeating gang stalk, gang stalk, gang stalk, gang stalker, gang stalk, gang stalking, gang stalk. Oh my God, weird, crazy, in that way. Literally. Hold on a second. So how can I get any help if all my phone calls to lawyers and activist groups and advocacy groups, okay, how can I get any help? How can I get any help if my cell phone is hacked? I can go to a payphone and call them, and they can see where I'm going, and in real time connect with one of their syndicated members in the phone company. And cable installers are mentioned in the manifesto that the manager of gang stalking wrote. The manifesto that's online right now, that was written by a manager of gang stalking, flat out mentions Medicare workers, cable installers, entire police departments being taken over by these crime syndicates, judges, doctors. Do you honestly think that they don't have the power position to connect with anybody in the phone company to reroute a call to them? And if they have already ascertained the numbers I pushed, you would not believe the surveillance that these filthy whores have. You got to understand something. If this shit, which it's all over the internet right now, that a lot of targets are saying that federal employees are involved in gang stalking. I've even looked at Brian Two's information online. His last name is spelled T-E-W. He's a San Diego target. He's saying the FBI is involved in a gang stalking of him. In fact, he's suing them. That's right. That's right. So, who's got the power position to be able to get on their friggin' phone and reroute one of my phone calls that I make from a payphone. Boom. Just like that. What kind of mechanisms are placed already in place that would enable an individual in the government to blanketly, okay, well, it's either blanketly or they already have specific documents made per target that where they can get on the phone and say, we got a certain, I don't know what kind of legal instrument it's called. It could have a number to it, or I guess a word that describes it that the phone companies are already familiar with, so when they're called in reference to hacking into a phone, or I don't know if it's their technology that they have with them, computers, laptops, I don't know what they use, because I'm not a criminal. So how am I supposed to describe how they're doing or what they use? But I do know this. All you got to do is look at the amount of Google generated responses you get when you look up cell phone hacking and gang stalking, cell phone call rerouting, email rerouting, and gang stalking and organized stalking. And you'll clearly be able to see that they're using the targeted individuals' electronics, computer hacking, cyber surveillance. Hang on, I'm looking for something real fast. See, I only got a few minutes left on this particular video file. So, what I'm basically, the reason why I'm making this particular video is not just for prediction purposes in reference to what they're eventually going to do at UCSD. They're going to ban me from UCSD, either from their entire campus or from their libraries, and they're going to do it to make it appear that it was my fault because somebody complained about me, or some type of incident will occur. They're using homeless people and veterans like you would not believe. And the VA hospital is right next door to UCSD. In fact, yesterday I was on one of their buses, or 2 days ago I was on one of their buses, and when I went to Walmart, I saw one of the guys that they brought in to harass me on 2 separate occasions inside the biomedical library standing at the bus stop at the VA. That's right, you wouldn't believe how many veterans have engaged in gang stalking of me. They're just being used. Most of them don't even know what's going on. Okay? So, if you're a veteran watching this, trust me. I've mentioned veterans in a huge amount of my videos, talking about how they're targeting veterans. Okay? So trust me, I'm a veteran advocate, so don't mistake my statements, but they're using also veterans, is the point I'm trying to make. Alright, now, so if you see this YouTube video, and you feel inclined to do so in a way that makes you feel safe, could you please maybe write a letter offline, okay, like in a Word document program. My name is Leslie Williams. I am in San Diego. I live in La Jolla, California. Today's date is February 5th, 2000, or, wait a minute. It's the 5th or the 6th? I think it's the 5th. Okay, 2014. I live in La Jolla. Okay? I'm not going to move from La Jolla no matter what. Okay? So the point is that I can be found on occasion at the North University San Diego Public Library, the Dole Community Center. I'm not going back to UCSD in reference to using their libraries, but I do use my own laptop. So I could go to their Price Center and use my laptop. Let's see if any problems happen there on any date. Or the Club Med restaurant, which I've already identified to UCSD campus police that their employees have engaged in gang stalking and caught on audio. Now, the point I'm trying to make is this. Since I can't fax or mail or call any lawyer, okay, in the San Diego community like Mary Frances Prevost, I like her, from what her website is saying, maybe somebody could go down there on my behalf or mail them a letter or fax them a letter. Because if they don't know who's watching my YouTube videos on an escalated scale, because I'm going to try and start viraling my videos if I can learn how. The point I'm trying to make is that I need help in order to be able to connect with the lawyer. So the lawyer can then know my immediate situation in reference to how they compromise my communications. I need help. I need help. Alright, hold on. If you knew what I have been through, do you hear these individuals on a, this is a, you could just, well, I'm not even going to include it because there's only a minute left in this video, but on this phone I got a little video of gang stalk, oh my god, gang stalk and gang stalking being repetitively and constantly said as I was on a bus route in Yucca Valley, California when I left San Diego to go there for 1 week. Yucca Valley is 167 miles away from La Jolla. I gotta go. I'm in San Diego, California. I do appreciate you listening to what I have to say. And the only thing I do is hope and pray that you say a prayer for me. Alright, thank you for listening and have a nice day.